and start talking. I'm Zach Ewing. That's Trevor Horn and Josh Bennett. This is the BVarsity Scoreboard Show. Welcome in, everybody. The regular season has ended. Week 11 is in the books, and a couple of big games are in the books. The Bakersfield Drillers are back on top of the mountain.
That was a huge night, but I think the first thing that we need to really kind of go over tonight is to congratulate Steve Denman on the biggest win of any Central Section football coach ever. So congratulations to Steve Denman.
Or at least the most wins ever. 35-7 over West Tehachapi, getting number 300 for Steve Denman, and the first ever Yosemite level league championship for Tehachapi.
Yep,
which is a pretty cool deal, too.
Independence and Ridgeview.
And they needed some help from Ridgeview. Yeah. Ridgeview beating Independence 41-13. A huge night for Jamar Moya, 167 yards on the ground for Mr. Moya. Mike Griffith making noise out there trying to distract us. 163 yards for Jamar Moya. And Ridgeview, a close game, 20-13 over Independence. They blew them out in the fourth quarter, much like BHS blows out Liberty in the third quarter.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, it was a close game. It was 16-10 BHS at the half in a 6-turnover first half, which was incredible when you think of a game of this magnitude. And it was senior night, and two teams both undefeated in the Power League. And then defenses were just gobbling up these balls. And then all of a sudden, Johnny Balderas gets a punt return for 61 yards, and Liberty takes a 17-16 lead there in the third quarter. And then, hey, Mr. Jones. I guess the Counting Crows are going to be talking about Shane Jones now, I guess. They're relevant again. Shane Jones scores 3 of his 4 touchdowns in the third quarter as BHS scored 28 unanswered points to beat Liberty 44-17. It not only puts BHS as the number 2 seed tomorrow when the brackets are released tomorrow, it also snaps an 18-game Southwest Yosemite League win streak for Liberty,
which is
huge.
It's an incredible accomplishment for Liberty. We need to say that first, and then they were ahead in the third quarter. And frankly, you look at these rosters, and we thought it was going to be a close game, and it obviously was for the better part of 3 quarters. But Liberty's a little bit outmanned against this BHS team. This is a very balanced Drillers team.
It's funny because there was a moment, I asked Paul Goll about this tonight, there was a moment where, they kind of stick with their quarterback through each series, whether it's Caden Ochoa or Cam Williams, and what are their positions. And we were up in the press box, and I'm sitting next to Jay, the longtime PA announcer, and he goes, we're in a 3rd and long. They got to put Cam in. And then all of a sudden, here comes Cam on a Caden Ochoa. He completes a pass, and then they're gone.
Wait, do that walking noise again. Does he actually make that noise when he walks?
From up there.
That would be exceptional. Yeah. That'd be fun to watch.
But when you look at Cam Williams, 5'9", 164 yards, and there was one play, I think it was the scoring pass, and we'll look at the highlights later, where they actually put him in a 2-step standard shotgun drop back, and he just stood back there, and he just looked so poised in the pocket, and he just fires it off to Shane Jones for a 47-yard touchdown.
Yeah, and we'll get to those highlights in just a second. I want to ask Josh. I want to bring Josh Bennett in. Do you think the Drillers are better now than they were even before Josh Moran got hurt? It seems like they're playing at a higher level.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're figured out what they're doing. I mean, I know a big concern of mine earlier in the season was how is the Drillers going to overcome 10 road games this season, and 8-2 and undefeated in league and a league championship. I think they kind of answered that for us.
Sure,
10 road games.
To bother them. Yeah.
10 road games. It was funny because I didn't get it into my story for tomorrow, which is something I really wanted to. I talked to a bunch of former Drillers out in the stands, and they were all, there were a few who were like, we don't want to be at West. We don't want to be anywhere except for Griffith Field. And then I get that. And then they were always like, you know what? The Drillers do whatever the Drillers do. And that's the thing is that Paul Goll has got this mantra of uncommon this year. And how uncommon is it that a team goes 8-2, goes 5-0 in the SWIL, and in a season where they have 10 road games and they lose 4 senior starters, and in a game where they turned the ball over 4 times, they end up putting up 44 points and blow out Liberty, a very, very, very good Liberty team.
Yeah, let's not lose sight of that. This is a very good Liberty team that will most likely be the number 3 seed in the playoffs.
I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be.
Clovis West would be and they have the head-to-head. I mean, they're
against them and Buchanan.
It's not like Clovis West has an advantage anywhere else. I think Liberty gets the 3, which means we could see BHS Liberty again in 3 weeks. Let's roll the highlights. We got to get to them. This is what Liberty and BHS looked like from Trevor's camera lens. Do we have those? There we go.
Okay, first off, this is on a 4th down, and that's Brock Anderson who picks it up on the bad pitch for BHS, one of the 6 turnovers in the game. And so we're a scoreless first quarter here. Here, watch this interception. Kane Ochoa throws it up to Bishop Maxwell. And tell me how Josh Robertson comes down with this. He picks it
Look at
completely
Curtis
out of
Brown
his
pumping
hands.
his fist in the back.
Oh, yeah.
That's the strongest kicker in the league right there, Josh Robertson.
So there he is. There's an interception. So we're tied 0-0. Then the kickers get into it, and it's a 3-3 tie before BHS finally gets on the board. Watch this pitch, spin, mama gone. That's 45 yards for Shane Jones. First touchdown of the game. That is a 9-3 lead for BHS at that point. But Liberty would respond. Here's Isaiah Hill, the sophomore, drops back, finds Mr. Vegas himself, Johnny Balderas, for 11-yard strike. Liberty up 10-9 at this point, but the Drillers weren't finished left. We got 46 seconds left in the first half. Williams evades the defender on the run, rocket to Justin McGill. Second connection for them tonight. This one, a 39-yard pass, and it's a 16-10 BHS lead at the half. In the second, Liberty now leads 17-16 after Johnny Balderas was 60-yard punt return. But look at this. Jones takes the ball 47 yards from Williams, and that's the play that I was talking about, where he was just in a standard shotgun, drops back, and fires it to Jones.
You're not going to start singing Counting Crows, are you?
Nope. Williams drops back, finds Jones one more time, the 4th touchdown of the night for Shane Jones. And the Drillers are up big here. It is 37-17 at this point, and then Trayvon Jackson punctuates it with a 63-yard run in the fourth quarter. The final score of the night, it's a 44-17 win for BHS.
Yeah, you look at Trayvon Jackson. Oh, yeah, they got another guy who can outrun anybody on your
Bishop
team.
Maxwell in the last play of the game goes 88 yards all the way down to like the 1-yard line before the clock expired.
Yeah, and I just want to note, it's not really 10 road games for the Drillers. What it is no home games. They're playing their home games at neutral sites. They're not at everybody else's stadium. But just to clarify that, they are.
Well, no, of course
they're
not. But they're not at home. They've played 2 games at West,
home games.
2 games at BC, and then 1 game at Centennial. So, those are. And then they're going to have to play somewhere else other than their own home field in the playoffs, because they're going to host in the quarterfinals. And if they win, they're going to host in the semifinals. And then if Central gets upset and they get into the finals, they're going to host in the finals, and then here we go.
I think we may see Memorial Stadium becoming the Drillers' home field in the postseason. That's my prediction. At least maybe in the quarters they'll have to play somewhere else if BC has a bowl game possibly the weekend of the 19th.
Right.
But that's all in the future. Playoff seedings, by the way, tomorrow. Follow the BVarsity Live Twitter account. I'll tweet out those playoff seedings as soon as I can get them. I'll be in the meeting in Porterville, so we should get them before anybody else. Not too long before everybody else, but we will have them out soon. So that's the story from West, where BHS wins the Southwest Yosemite League title. Down at Independence, the South Yosemite League title was decided. Here was the situation going in. Ridgeview was a game behind Independence. Tehachapi was also 3-1 in the league, so they needed a Ridgeview win. This was 4th and goal late in the first quarter, and Jamar Moya gets in. They're really just a foot away from the end zone there, and Jamar Moya able to fall across the goal line.
Didn't dance right at the goal line?
No, it was Prevost. It was Prevost, yeah, who danced on the 3rd down play, but Moya finishes it, and then here it is 6-0 Ridgeview after they missed the extra point. And Independence looking deep, and that set up a punt. And here is
that guy's
we had the band in the way. So here's the blocked punt, and Amir Nux scoops it up. All of Independence's players were downfield trying to set up a punt return. There was nobody to stop Amir Knox. He's gone the other way, sets the ball down, makes sure it's across the line this time.
Took his teammate out.
They get the 2-point conversion, which you're about to see right here. And that was Amir Knox. This is, sorry for the choppy video, this is Jalen Prevost, and he is going to just set the ball across the goal line here as well. Comes in motion, gets the ball, and is gone inside the pylon for the 2-point conversion. So it's 14-0, but the star of the night for Independence, the unsung fullback, Chris Wyrick, right up the gut. And it's not easy to outrun the Ridgeview defense, but he just barely has enough gas to get into the end zone. 62 yards for Chris Wyrick, and then he falls down. It's 14-7. But Ridgeview, now a 3rd and goal. Keontae Glinton is in the game at quarterback, and Glinton Smart guy. He had just completed a third and long pass to get into goal-to-go situation. Here he notices the middle of the field's wide open. Keani Glinton right up the gut for a 5-yard touchdown. PAT missed. It's 20-7. And then 30 seconds to go before half. Navarro for Independence. Juan Navarro with the field goal, a 32-yarder to make it 20-10 at halftime. He added another one. This is the final play of the third quarter now. Really kind of a disappointment for Independence, though. That was a 7+ minute drive, and they only get a field goal out of it. And then 2 plays later, a big kickoff return. Here's the play of the game. Jamar Moya actually cuts the wrong way on this play, but watch him go to work. Whoop. Whoop.
Man, that boy is just so good.
And into the end zone. Little Chris Berman for you there. 40 yards for Moya. That made it a 2-score game, and then he seals the deal here. Inside of 2 minutes to go, Ridgeview was almost at the point where they could have just run the clock out here, but instead of just running the clock out, they get Moya, again right up the gut, a 33-yard touchdown. Nice little broken tackle at the end there. And then on the ensuing kickoff, it's now 34-13, and again, less than 2 minutes to go in the game, so Independence just trying to get off the field at this point, but as you will see here in a minute. And again, Tehachapi has already beaten West at this point, so they're watching and hoping Ridgeview wins and Independence loses to force a 3-way tie atop the SYL in a 3-way championship. And just the icing on the cake for Ridgeview, a fumbled kickoff here at the 39-yard line, and it's Jalen Prevost who rips it out of there and runs the other way for the touchdown to make it 41-13. Wolfpack. So the Pack, 7 straight years they have won at least a share of a league championship. That is amazing, guys.
Yeah, especially with the season they've had this year. Just up and down,
just
and down.
To keep it going, and they had to win to get into the playoffs.
Yep.
So now you have a tri-championship in the SYL. Congratulations to Ridgeview, Independence, and Tehachapi for winning the SYL title. And they move on to the D2 playoffs, and it looks like only 2 teams are going to have to play in Division II next week. I think only 9 teams in that bracket. So Independence is in that range where they may be an 8 or a 9 seed. Independence may be at home next Thursday hosting a 9 seed. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate that far down. In fact, it's possible you see a rematch between these 2 teams next week.
It's entirely possible.
By the way, for Independence, quarterback J.R. Lehman was a game-time decision, did not go with a sprained knee, and I think that really hurt the Falcons.
Yeah.
Didn't have that mobile quarterback out of that option offense. Moving on elsewhere in the SWL.
I don't know. I thought I saw Greenlee actually play pretty well last week against East.
Today, he's not the running threat though.
No, of course
that's
not.
the problem.
But he's got a good arm.
Yeah, and he was 1 of 7 passing nets, so they just didn't have.
But I think the Ridgeview defense is just a little bit more dominating, I guess you could say.
Anything well, and he had some open receivers and missed them. I mean, and they really didn't have anything besides Chris Wyrick tonight. So how about this score? Garces 30-7 over Stockdale. The Rams' defense so impressive to shut down Elisha Ortiz and that Mustangs offense. And Stockdale, after a 4-1 start, kind of scuttling into the Division I playoffs at 5-5. But they are in, and they are dangerous.
Yeah, Ortiz finished 18 rushes for 89 yards. It was Isaiah Martin, 23 rushes, 164 yards for Garces. Chris Coleman had 2 touchdown passes. 1 touchdown pass from Joseph Tobias and a 70-yard punt return for the Rams as Tobias threw for 293 yards. Really impressive. And once again, Jalen Smith at quarterback only threw for 64 yards for Stockdale. So Garces finished the regular season like we see there, 7-3, 3-2 in the SWIL. Stockdale really needed that 5th win against Centennial. They finished at 5-5, 1-4 in the SWIL.
Yeah, against Frontier, you mean. Centennial beats Frontier 49-33, and the Golden Hawks are going to finish tied for 3rd place tied for 4th place, in the SWIL. In fact, 4th place by themselves, I believe, ahead of Stockdale, but not going to the playoffs. Only 3-7. Frontier 2-8. They are going to the playoffs. They will almost certainly be the number 11 seed in the Division I bracket.
Greg Youngblood with 327 yards in the losing effort for Frontier. Will Alexander threw for 201 in the win.
Next up, the South Yosemite League, the thriller of the night. A double OT game. East had to come back in this game, and after losing 3 heartbreakers in a row, the Blades get to feel the other side. They get the 2-point conversion in the second overtime to beat Golden Valley 24-22. Good for East, an 8-3 season.
158 yards passing for Lara in this one for the Blades, and that was a 30-yard pass from Lara to Lopez in the second overtime to win.
On 4th down.
On 4th down.
Yeah, so it was do or die there, and they got it done and then got the 2-point conversion. Tehachapi beating West 35-7. That was the one we talked about. Number 300 for Mr. Denman. This game, though, was only 7-0 at halftime, Trevor.
Yeah, and then Kieran Scott kind of goes off there. He had a touchdown of 7 yards in the fourth quarter, finished with 153 yards rushing for the Warriors, who are now in the playoffs.
They're in the D2 playoffs
And,
as well, so you could see Tatch being independent in that.
champ.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tatchby's in Division 3, excuse me, so they will be playing next week as well.
Yeah, and a couple of those Warriors touchdowns came off of botched punt snaps, so some special teams work there from Tatch.
Yeah, West just they're glad it's over. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. They're glad it's over. North beats Highland 28-21. No matter how good Highland is getting, they just can't seem to beat those Stars. Josh Bennett, you called this one.
Yeah, like you said, North just has Highland's number no matter what. And showed it again.
And they led 14-0 in this game. Highland came back, tied it up. North scored. Highland tied it up again, and North is able to win it in the end. An exciting one.
Yeah.
And the Stars win.
Stars are rolling too.
Marley Garnett, 128 yards passing for the Stars.
And they're in the playoffs as well. Foothill beats Miramonte, the Battle of 58. Long season for the Trojans, but they get that second win for Coach Jason Oliver.
Hugo Santana, 207 yards passing, and Jay-Sean Ward, 112 yards rushing for Foothill in the win.
That's okay. I saw one of the TV reporters said Ridgecrest beat Independence tonight. So
Cool.
Yeah, we're doing okay. Bakersfield Christian 59, Taft 21. The Eagles stormed out of the gates in this one. I think it was about 28-0 after like 8 minutes of game time.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. When you look at Braden Wingle, 298 yards passing tonight, absolutely incredible. When you looked at those two, the big kind of juxtaposition where we saw was the best passing offense in the section against the best rushing offense.
But BCA just ran the ball too.
Yeah, and when they threw the ball well, Robert Cozine had 108 yards rushing, well under his average of 280 yards a game this season. The top rusher in the central section, but it was a big night for the Eagles. 9 catches, 147 yards for Jeremiah Foster, who had 3 touchdown passes from Wingle. Wingle had 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 touchdown passes. BCH,
I think he's got 31 this year now.
certainly in the running for the number 1 seed in Division 3.
9-1.
Yeah, they're 9-1. A couple other teams with stronger schedules could get hairy there for number 1. I have them ranked the highest Division 3 team in my rankings. The rivalry game lived up to its hype. Shafter kept coming back, couldn't quite catch Wasco, and Shafter will be at home in the playoffs. That's a good team in the Division 5 playoffs not playing. Wasco 28-24.
Cesar Pareto, the second best rusher in the county, had 225 yards rushing at the quarterback position, 3 touchdowns on 25 carries. Gerardo Gomez added another 80 yards on 9 carries for the Tigers.
Moving along elsewhere in the SSL, 34-3. Cesar Chavez, except for that 2-week blip, one a double OT loss to Bakersfield Christian, the other one a loss at Wasco. Chavez had a pretty darn good season. They're going to be a force in D4.
Well, when you're looking at back-to-back 10-win seasons under Casey Quinn, who's now the head coach of Clovis North, here they are with an 8-2 record, and if they get 2 wins in the playoffs, 3 straight for a team that was kind of downtrodden for a long time when the program first opened up.
Yep. East Yosemite League, Delano. The Tigers get it done at Mission Oak, 22-15.
And Delano needed to get in, as did Mission Oak needed to win.
Yeah, this
to
was
get
a
into the playoffs.
playoff game essentially.
Yep, and the
in Division
Tigers
3.
are in the playoffs. Congratulations.
So Delano, we will see you next week. McFarland could have won a share of the league title, didn't go their way tonight. 38-0 for Farmersville. Desert needed to win to avoid sharing a league title. Got it done, 48-14. The Scorpions undefeated in the High Desert League, and they should be hosting a playoff game.
Those Air Force boys know how to play some football.
Yes, they do.
I think you finally picked him right this week, Zach.
I finally got them. Kern Valley fell behind, stormed back, had a big lead, almost lost it. That's just kind of the way their season has gone, but they needed to win to get in the playoffs, and they got it done 29-28. So the Bronx in the D5 playoffs. Burroughs, maybe a little more difficult than expected, but they get past Sultana 33-28, and the Burroughs are probably in the Southern Section playoffs. Boron wins its league 48-6 over Desert Christian. And in 8-man ball, that is an 8-man football score if I ever saw one, baby. 74-64 Bloomington Christian.
Couple of house
You
cleaning
scored
things
64
here.
points and you lost by double digits,
Yeah, no
Maricopa.
kidding. Hey. So a couple of house cleaning things here. Look at this. Lemoore out of the D2 playoffs after losing to Hanford tonight. Golden Valley, with their loss, they are not in the D3
Boy,
playoffs.
they came close.
Delano in. Yep. North is in the D3 playoffs with the win. Like we said, Kern Valley in. And then Shafter will not play in the D5 playoffs after the loss tonight.
So an 11-man D1 bracket, Clovis West beat Clovis tonight Edison beat Bullard, and Clovis North beat Buchanan. Those are your big scores from the Division I up north. Sanger all over Memorial. They're going to be the number 1 seed in Division II. The number 1 seeds in the top 2 divisions at least are pretty clear, Central and Sanger. And then the number 2 seeds, I think, also are pretty clear at this point, Bakersfield and Garces. So you have a North area team and a Kern County team to top 2 in those top 2 divisions. Sets up for a couple of championship games. If seeds hold, they'll be up in Fresno County. In Division 3, could be the other way around. We're thinking maybe Bakersfield Christian number 1, and then maybe a Hanford or a Tulare Western number 2. After that, Division 3 is a little bit of a mess. Division 4, your number 1 seed, I think, is going to be the Selma Bears.
Yep, after the win tonight, they're 10-0. I don't see how you put them. You don't put them over Golden West or Chowchilla or Chavez. There's just no way.
Those teams will be seeded after that. And then in Division 5, I'm thinking, I didn't see a score if Mendota won tonight.
Mendota did win. They're 10-0, so they are the number 1 seed over Dos Palace and Fireball and Carruthers.
And perhaps Farmersville in
and
Division
really,
6.
I mean, it's a tough year. I don't really think that we're going to see, Kern Valley was the number 1 seed 2 years ago. I don't think we're going to see a Kern County team, other than maybe Desert. I mean, they're all going to be on the road in D5.
And then in D6, we're thinking Farmersville may be the number 1 seed.
Strathmore actually undefeated at 10-0, luckily the number 1 seed. Kennedy's right there, 5-5. You've always got to kind of figure that they get out of that SSL and they start playing a bunch of D6 teams. They always have a chance because they have a really good run game. But yeah, Strathmore the number 1 seed.
Josh, final thought on Week 11 before playoff seedings tomorrow.
I actually kind of want to go to teams not going to the playoffs. To the seniors hanging up the pads for the last time. Congratulations on your season, on your playing careers. Been there before. It'll be tough for a little while, but you'll find something else to fill the void and just take away the memories and the things you've learned throughout your career and just use it in your life.
Did it get dusty in here? I think it got dusty in here. That was good, Josh. I like that.
Josh Bennett going emotional. I
think and look, to that end, Centennial. I know Cole Beatty's moving on. A lot of those other guys. It was kind of a nightmare of a season. You're not going to the playoffs. They ended on a good note. Hats off to those boys.
Yeah.
Trevor?
I'll give you the big one, but I think that the Central Section Division I really needs to kind of worry big time about the Drillers now. You see a game where they turn the ball over 4 times. They don't turn the ball over 4 times. This is a bigger blowout than what the scoreboard said. And if the Drillers are rolling like the Drillers are rolling right now, and you've got 2 quarterbacks and you're comfortable with both of them, and they're both comfortable with coming in and out when needed, and they're both playing well on defense. Cam Williams had a fumble recovery in the second half. That's all rolling, man. And, this is 2011. I don't want to say it's 2013, but some things are going on right. And Central and Clovis West, Central's really got to be going, that's a team we got to worry about because they're as explosive as we are.
Central is the favorite. There's no doubt about that in my mind. However, for a little while there, for 3-4 weeks in the middle of the season, it looked like there wasn't going to be anybody to challenge them, and that does not look like the case now. Bakersfield should be able to challenge.
Now, remember, I've never seen a dominant Drillers team since I've been here at the California. Now, I saw that state title game in 2013 because I was covering Del Oro for the Auburn Journal back then, and I went, wow. And I haven't gone wow about the Drillers until this year.
They've got that
offense. They've got a
rolling.
wow factor.
Yeah. And Ridgeview, too, if you look at Ridgeview is going to be on the road in the quarterfinals of Division II, and somebody is going to look at that bracket and just go, oh, no.
Well,
we got Ridgeview in the first round.
You got to forget that, they've got a lot of turmoil going on in that locker room right now, but they got some senior leaders, Ricky Youngwine and Mayor Knox.
Jamar
Moya
took that team on his shoulders
Jamar
tonight.
Moya, that guy, going into this game tonight, I said this is that game that's really kind of defined who Jamar Moya is as a leader of Ridgeview after being kind of the second guy behind Lawrence White and Sheldon Cronin over the last 2 years.
And I think he proved it.
He proved that he's a leader tonight. So
and
congratulations,
final
Jamar.
thought, hey, I was really happy to see Steve Denman getting 300.
Yes.
Against West, we knew they were going to get it. But what I'm really happy to see, Steve Denman has avoided this topic all season long. He hasn't wanted to talk about it. I think whether anybody admits it or not, it was a distraction for Tatchby early in the season.
Yes.
They lost some games.
Yes.
Maybe they shouldn't have. They didn't play well in a couple of games. They got it rolling finally. They got the big win over Ridgeview last week. They get to 300 tonight. And then you see these photos, Steve Denman smiling. They've got the 300 shirts. Chris McCullough already sent me. He wants me to buy him a Steve Denman 300 T-shirt for Christmas. He's enjoying it. He's living it up. And you know what? He should. Congratulations, Steve Denman.
Well, and the thing is that we did this thing where we all went out and we talked to the two coaches that were going against each other tonight. And I talked to Paul Gola and Brian Nixon,
you can
two of the best
feel
coaches,
the respect.
and you can just feel it. It's Brian Nixon's saying this is the classiest, nicest man you'll ever meet in your life, and he's the consummate professional. Paul Gola, who actually played against a Tehachapi team when he was in high school at Serrano, said that he feels because Gary Ogilvy's son actually teaches there at BHS as well, so they went against each other. So it was one of those things where it's like he said he felt like he's kind of a surrogate mentor to Paul Gola. When you talk about Paul Gola having a mentor, of course it's going to be Steve Denman.
So a tip of the cap to you, sir, Steve Denman. For Josh Bennett, Trevor Horn, producers Chris McCullough, I'm Zach Ewing. This has been the BVarsity Scoreboard Show, everybody. We'll have
playoffs
seeding
are Thursday
tomorrow.
night.
Thursday night next week, and we'll have seedings for you tomorrow. BVarsity Live, Twitter account, and on Bakersfield.com. Good night, everybody.
Playoffs.
Playoffs!